Hi, welcome back to Evermore YouTube channel. It's Chris back with a match preview for Newcastle United's upcoming game this weekend in the Premier League against Fulham at St James's Park. 3 p.m. kickoff. That's right. You heard me right. A 3 p.m. kickoff, which seems extremely rare this season, thanks to our foray into Europe. But sadly, as we all know, that is over. And the lads will be wanting to put it right against Fulham today in the game this Saturday, I think, just to get away from that horrible sour taste of defeat and taste that beautiful elixir that is victory again against the lads from London. It's going to be a tough game. Fulham have been playing quite well. We're going to get stuck right into this in a minute, talk about how I think the lads are going to line up and how I think the game is going to go. Just as we always say, a little reminder before we get stuck in, if you want to subscribe, I'd love you to come on board. We're over 6,000 subs now, so thank you so much for that. We wanted it by Christmas and we've got it. If you want to be entered into our 6K giveaway prize, you can subscribe right now, go over, watch that video, comment, type in 6K, and you could be in for the draw for the 6K giveaway prize, which is a real good one as well. Hopefully, at least one of these lads might be scoring at the weekend and celebrate maybe in the same fashion. But go and check that one out as well, guys. After you've clicked that button and subscribe, all free content, never more. But if you do want to give it a little bit back to the channel, there is an option down there too, where you can be a member and support us and just help us keep bringing you this great content. So, as we said, Wednesday, devastating defeat against AC Milan. At one point, we had it all in our hands. We were going to go through the next round of the Champions League. We were all buzzing, we were all bouncing. Shades of the Bobby Robson days when we beat Feyenoord and everything else as well. And it all just got snatched away from us, really. A combination of, I think, us going for it, maybe slightly naive, if you want to call it that. But for me, I just think Eddie Howe was Champions League or bust. This squad has been tested to its limit. Playing the Champions League, we've had injuries, suspensions galore. It's threadbare. And I just think Eddie Howe, we will never say it out loud, but I think Eddie Howe thought, fuck it, let's just go for the Champions League. And if we get it, we'll deal with it. We're through the knockouts of the Champions League, all the financial clout that comes with it. But obviously, if we're not going to do it, fuck the Europa League. Let's just go Champions League or bust. And we ended up being bust. So we'll be back there soon enough. It's going to be hard to get top 4 this season, which is why we need to win games like this one coming to the weekend against Fulham. Segue. So this is how we think the lads are going to line up. There is a few suspensions and a few injuries to consider in terms of the lineup. So looking at the team there, I mean, the big one is Kieran Trippier's suspension. Obviously, the yellow card against Spurs got him a suspension, so he's suspended for this game. So we've got Tino Livramento going over to right back, and then Dan Burn coming in at left back. Where is Lewis Hall? I hear everybody ask. Well, interesting. There's a lot of stories going out about Lewis Hall that maybe Eddie Howe doesn't quite fancy him. He isn't quite what he thought he was going to be. It was put to him at his press conference, and he was typical Eddie Howe, kind of swerved the question in an articulate, intellectual way, without giving anything away. But I think there's a little bit of an issue with Lewis Hall. I think Lewis Hall wants to be a midfielder, thinks he's a midfielder, but we signed him as a left back. And I think until that situation is resolved, I think Lewis Hall will struggle for game time. I've always said I think he's going to be a really good left back. He could be like an Andy Robertson type player, but if the kid cannot get over himself to play there, then it's going to be a problem. So I haven't got Lewis Hall starting this game, as much as I would love to see him starting at left wing back and Tino on the other side, because that's the future really of our full back position. I don't think he'll do that. I think he'll stick Dan Burn because he trusts him. The rest of the back four stays the same. Where we've made the changes is obviously Anthony Gordon came off with a knock. Now, Anthony Gordon does bounce back really quickly from injuries, and he could very well get into the side, which I think probably would bring Gordon in on that left-hand side, Joe Litton back in the midfield, and possibly Louis Miley may miss out. But I don't know why. I think Louis Miley was brilliant for an hour against Milan. I think he uses the ball so well. Sean came on. He's not fully fit, but Sean runs for days. I know he's a senior player and Eddie fully trusts him, and we should trust him as well because Sean's been phenomenal for us. But young Louis Miley's done so well. 2 assists in his last 2 games at St James's Park. So, I can see why you would start him, especially against Fulham, where you may have a chance with a slightly weaker defence than you've maybe faced previously. So I would happily see Louis Miley starting in the midfield alongside Bruno and Longstaff, with Joe in the front 3, with Wilson leading the line. So I think Isak does look knackered still. And Miggy on the right-hand side if Gordon is injured. If Gordon is fit, I'd be tempted to drop Miggy, to be honest with you, and put Gordon on the right and Joe on the left. And then stick with that 3-man midfield. But I'm not sure how we'll do that, in all fairness. But we are still threadbare in injuries. We've had some horrible injury updates recently on the likes of Harvey Barnes and Joe Willock, etc. But that's how I think the lads will line up, providing Gordon is injured. If Gordon is fit to play, it might change ever so slightly. But I mean, I think the big key for us, looking at the Fulham lineup, Fulham haven't got a great deal of injuries, in all fairness. So Fulham themselves have got, I think, Issa Diop could be in contention. Adama Traore, as shit as he is, he's lightning fast. He is not ready for this game, so that's probably quite a good thing, because they would have put him against Burn. And that left-hand side with Burn and Longstaff doesn't possess a lot of pace. That would frighten the life out of me personally. And I think Joe Linton would have to drop a hell of a lot further back to help Dan Burn with Traore. So I'm quite glad he's not playing. Tim Ream as well is missing for Fulham. So the Fulham lineup is probably going to be Leno in goal, who's had a great season so far. Castagna, is it, excuse the pronunciation, Adebayo, Bassi, Robinson, who we were linked to for a time, Kearney, who's decent on the ball, nice, neat and tidy, Polina, who's a very good player, Iwobi, who does all right, to be fair. He's not bad on the ball. Pereira, again, who has a bit of quality. Harry Wilson and Jimenez. Now, those two in particular could cause us a bit of trouble. Fulham are just off the back of a 5-0 victory, where Jimenez is looking back to that player that was at Wolves, a very dangerous player. And Harry Wilson is capable of an absolute snorter from distance, very similar to what Joe Linton scored in the Champions League midweek. So he's quite a dangerous player as well in that midfield. So we really need Bruno, Miley, and Longstaff to be on it in this game if they're the three that start, to try and close off that shot from Wilson. Cher and Lascelles need to get out quick to him, because if you give him a clean set of heels from 20 or 30 yards out, you don't press him, he will pull a trigger. And Martin Dubravka has looked a bit shaky in goal so far. We know he's nursing this shoulder injury, so that could be a real threat, I think, in the game in terms of Harry Wilson from range. He's great from set pieces too, to try not give away too many free kicks. And Jimenez's movement is extremely good, and he's a good finisher. So this is not going to be an easy game, in my opinion. I think this is going to be quite a difficult game as well in terms of the teams themselves. I think Marco Silva is a very good manager. I think he's getting a real good tune out of Fulham, in all fairness, and they're really playing at a decent level as well, and they're starting to really pick up from maybe a struggling start to the season. So this isn't going to be easy for Newcastle. We need to win these games, though. We're very good at home. We're a very different side at home. We don't look as nervous or as frightened as we have look on the road, on our travels. So this is, again, even though we're out of the Champions League, this is another run of very important games coming for us, as we go into the festive period. So obviously we've got Fulham. Then I believe we've got Chelsea in the quarterfinals of the Carabao, which is a massive game. We've got to travel down to London. We've got to travel better than we have done in the Premier League, so we need to try and get through that, because the Carabao Cup is a realistic goal for us this season. We've put out some massive teams already. It's only really Liverpool that left in it, and Chelsea as big sides, as you want to call it that. And then obviously we've got the Mackems in the FA Cup as well. So these are huge games for Newcastle United. We need players back. It's not looking like we're getting many back at this particular rate, but the January window is coming, and I think there's going to be a lot more additions than people maybe thought there would have been from the get-go from Newcastle United. But going back to this game and focusing on this game at the weekend, it's not going to be an easy game. I don't think we'll batter Fulham by any stretch. I'm going to go for a 2-1 Newcastle United victory in this game. I just think the lads will be wanting to put right what went wrong on Wednesday, get back on the winning trail, get back into the race for that top four. So I'm going to go for a 2-1 victory. Let us know in the comments below what you guys think about the team lineup, what you think about Fulham. Do you think it's going to be an easy game, a difficult game? Do you think we may struggle, or do you think we'll batter them? Whatever you guys think, smash a comment, and we always try and do our best to reply to it as well. As I mentioned at the start, if you haven't already, consider subscribing. We're over 6,000 subs, loads of room for you here and evermore, all free content. But if you want to give a little bit back to the channel, there is an option there too. Enter that 6K giveaway prize as well, because it's definitely worth you checking it out and seeing if you can win a great prize as well. Have a great day wherever you are, everyone. Mark should hopefully be on for the post-match after the Fulham game, and hopefully after a Newcastle United victory. Have a cracking weekend, everyone. Who are the lads? We'll see you later. Cheers.